This is week number 9 report out of my weight loss journey. Hey, I'm Lynn Lindberg, founder of Couch to Active. You found us. Welcome. Okay, here we go with the routine. I am assuming you have listened to some of these other weight loss episodes before this one. So I'm going to assume you know the background. If you are new to this, go back, find week number 0. That's a super important one to listen to so you know a little bit about the context of what we're doing. And disclaimer, if weight loss journey is not a good topic for you, pause, skip along. But this is a really important one for a whole lot of us. And that's including myself. And that's why we're taking a look at it. Whew. Oh yeah. Rate and review. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, head over, give it a 5-star review. You got to scroll down to the bottom of the thing to find it. It's kind of hidden, but it actually helps us grow. All right. Let's get into it. This was my first week of being an empty nester. I also spent the weekend hiking with a friend, and during that week, I did not track my food. I also had a bunch of things that were weight gainers that could have happened. For example, I was feeling a little sore from one of my hikes, so I was taking some ibuprofen that actually can tend to bloat. We did some eating out, which tends to be high salt, which can tend to bloat. We also did big hikes. And when I say big hikes, what I mean is we did hikes that had more elevation and mileage than what my body is used to. So anytime you do more or heavier than what your body's used to, a lot of times that your body will have an inflammatory, not a bad one, but it will have an inflammatory response to that. And it was another period week for Lynn, so all kinds of things. So this was interesting because remember last week I gained a pound. So let's see what happened this week. Okay. First of all, I want to pause for just a moment and recap and remind us that what we're talking about here is my journey for what I'm doing, and everyone's journey is unique. So if you have found yourself sliding into that trap a little bit of thinking, oh gosh, I want to lose weight and I haven't been able to. And now I've been listening to Lynn's podcasts and I've been thinking I want to, and and I just haven't been able to. And the scale hasn't budged, and I'm not doing as good as I should. First of all, got to quit shoulding all over yourself. Yep. And give yourself compassion and know this is my journey, and that I've had some things like you guys saw that week that was stressed out with becoming an empty nester. I did not lose weight that week, and the scale can be wonky. And I'll tell you a little bit what the scale did this week. Oh my gosh. So if that's you, make sure you're really listening to yourself and kind of seeing what is your self-talk behind that trying to tell you. If you find yourself going to that valley of sad, that sad space of feeling like you're beaten up on yourself, lean into it a little and ask yourself, what's really happening here? Am I just in that cycle of beating myself up? Or am I in a space where my life just really would not support doing a weight loss journey right now, and it's not right for me, but I don't want to accept that it's not right for me right now. So instead, I'll just get angry about it. Yeah. And I'm happy to help you work through this and figure this out too, because if this stuff was easy, we would all be super fit and super trim and have a great balance of muscle versus fat on our body if it was easy. If shame worked, and shaming yourself and making yourself feel bad, and if society shaming each other, if that worked, we would all be super fit and skinny and running marathons. And I don't even run marathons. So clearly shame doesn't work. Negative self-talk doesn't work. Beating ourselves up doesn't work. So if that's where you found yourself in that like valley of sad shame cycle, You don't have to push the happy button and jump right out of the pit. You might be in that tar pit for a reason, but lean into it, look at it, and really make sure you're doing the best you can to be compassionate to yourself and realistic, because society tells us, advertising, marketing, the people who have potions and pills and fat burners and all kinds of like, oh, now let's drink coconut oil. That'll make us skinny. Oh no, let's put butter in our coffee. That'll make it like grapefruit. Yeah. Some of us are old enough to remember the grapefruit diet. Yeah. Yeah. So, we got to combat that. Another thing, I'm doing this all natural. No pills, no fat burners. I am maintaining a minimum nutrition. I am not letting my calories get too low, and I'm not letting myself stay hungry. So I am going for that holy grail of having a life that I love, eating in a way that I love. And it started working this week. So this weekend, I went hiking with a buddy. I didn't track any food. I went in with intentions too, because I've tracked every single thing I've eaten for 60 days. And the data has been amazing. And I started looking at what are my safe meals? What does a safe eating day look like for me where I actually love what I eat? What are these lunches I like? What is the breakfast I like? Yada, yada, all that stuff. So when I got to the weekend with my buddy, I had a good sense of what I could order at a restaurant where I would actually really enjoy myself. I had a good sense of what I needed to bring to pack for our hiking lunches that would fuel my hikes and that I would actually enjoy. And so it's like, okay, this is feeling more and more sustainable, which is pretty gosh darn cool. But I only got there because I did 3 years of hard work first before I turned my sights on the scale. 3 years of rehabbing my health, 3 years of getting my life into a place where I wasn't just a complete stress basket the whole time. 3 years of getting myself to where I had the sugar out of my diet and was able to balance and find foods that I really liked. It was a huge process. And during those 3 years, when I wasn't losing weight, I was holding on to the whole 50, 60 pounds I had gained. During those 3 years, I was using more grit and more self-discipline to maintain and not continue to gain weight than I'm using right now, where I have this like somewhat glorious success story going on. Is that a Freudian slip why I couldn't say the word success easily? Yeah. So if you are, again, let me go back to that valley of sad. If that's you, that's where that week 0 work becomes so important. 3 years ago, I could not have had the successes I had today, but I was using grit. People were eating desserts. I was skipping them. I hated skipping them. I felt sad. I felt like I was missing out, like here, yeah. And as I was gaining that weight, that was when my health was falling apart. And there was no way when my health was falling apart that I could really look at losing weight while my health was falling apart. It just wouldn't, yes. So I digress. Let's go back to this week and talk a little bit more. So I went hiking with my buddy. I had a lunch I loved. It was a balance of carbs, proteins, and fats. One of my favorite lunches is a handful of pasta, which I know full well. Pasta is not the number one health food on the list, but in balance, handful of pasta, chopped up carrot, 4 ounces of chicken with just a little bit of pesto sauce mixed together. Oh my gosh, it makes such a lovely lunch. I love it. It's simple. It travels well. It eats well. And I feel full and it sticks with me for hours and hours and hours. So those kind of things I figured out hiking. Earlier in the week, I had this whole grand master plan that the day I became an empty nester, I would go through and do the final clean out of my kitchen to make my kitchen completely food safe. I haven't done it because here's what's happening. I'm laughing at myself because if I don't laugh, I'll cry. No, I'm okay. Became an empty nester, went into my kitchen, and my kitchen is pretty gosh darn food safe is what I call it. And I look at the tortillas that I bought for my son that I'm not really eating. And if I don't have them in the kitchen, I won't miss them. And I look at the tortillas and I would just cry. Literally, I'd be like, my boy isn't here anymore. Nobody's going to eat the tortillas. I'm in my house all alone. You guys, I'm fine. I'm doing fine. I have to keep telling myself, no, I really am. I really am doing fine. But I was amazed. I was amazed at how emotional that process could be. In fact, even right now, I'm like, whoo, get through this topic, Lynn, and move on to the next topic because you don't want to end up sobbing under your desk. And I know full well empty nesting is a totally normal thing. The emotions around it are normal. The more I'm public about it, I have so many people have come to me and told me their stories. So if you are empty nesting or you have and you felt alone, like we're all going through this. It's crazy. So I haven't cleaned the kitchen out. I haven't at all. I haven't organized my fridge. I haven't done any of that. And it was the right thing for me this week. So maybe in the near future, I will. The good thing is I feel like I've really worked on figuring out these meals that I like to eat with variety that are whole foods, that are simple, that my brain is kind of ignoring the other foods that are there that I don't want to eat. And really, I should just take them and throw them in the freaking trash can and just be done with it. But I don't know. I just have this emotional bond like, oh, that's my boy's thing. He liked to eat, Yeah. There's also some healthy food things like these weird cauliflower bread things that have been there for 6 weeks that I never eat. I should just throw those away too because they're like, blah. So that surprised me. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm actually heading out next week, going on a trip with my son. So I'm super excited about that. I know, empty nester, and then now we get to go on a trip together. So I'm just going to let the kitchen sit till I get back. And then maybe I'll be ready to attack it. We'll see. I don't know. You'll have to ask me. Maybe a year from now, those tortillas will still be sitting in the cupboard because you'd be like, oh, that girl needs therapy. And I'm like, nope, already doing it. Already there. Okay. I'm going to go through a couple of things a little more quickly because I want to keep us in the loop of kind of what the process is, how this is going. But I also, some of these stories just feel like some of the same things. So last week, Thursday, by 3 p.m., I had eaten all the food I had planned. And at 3 p.m., I was like, I had another one of those rounds. I was like, oh my gosh, I am definitely going to be hungry this evening. I ate everything by 3. I ended up giving myself a snack of vegetables. I think it was a bag of peas, snap peas, and I was fine. Friday, by 2 p.m., I ate everything. And I was like, oh my gosh, I realized that those days when I had eaten everything sooner and I was hungrier, I was on 3-hour phone calls for a convention, one of the conventions of the blind, and was on with potential clients like for 3 hours straight for those 2 days in a row. So that was a real lesson for me, is if I am, you could say, on stage, this is a consistent theme of mine. If I'm on stage per se, the stress eat comes out big time for me. And so on Friday, I actually did add an additional smoothie to my dinner. Well, I had eaten everything by 2:00. I had eaten my dinner by 2:00. So I had a smoothie at dinner, and then I was totally fine after that. But that was an interesting thing for like to look at the clock and be like, okay, I ate it all, but there's so many hours left in the day. And then my commitment to not let me get hungry. I decided to do that smoothie. So that was interesting. Hiking weekend was fun because we did enough miles that I was able to be a little looser on my food. And what that looked like for me was aspiring to eat as normally as possible. But I added, a couple of beers in a day. I added a little bit more, like an extra snack in a day. Not too much, but a little bit more. And that was actually pretty exciting. That was pretty great to go to a restaurant, sit down, look at the menu, and feel like I ate something I loved. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. Now here's a crazy thing though, is the last 2 days of the week, I was in a hotel room and I thought, you know what? My weigh-in day is coming up. I want to be able to weigh in. And so I did something that really weird that I'd never done in my whole life. I packed my bathroom scale with me on my hiking trip. That's right. I took my scale out of the bathroom. I put it in my duffel bag, in with my yoga pants, my hikers, my socks, my shirts, my toothbrush, and my bathroom scale. Brought it with me. I would not normally do this, but because I'm documenting this and we're on this podcast, I'm like, I want to know. I want to know what this hiking does day to day and see how the weight fluctuates day to day, just as a data point. So I felt like it was a healthy thing. Here's what happened. The first morning, I pull out the scale and I put it on the floor of the hotel room. And I'm with my good girlfriend. She knows all about what's going on. We talk about everything. So she knows all about it. She's been wonderful support. Even we had some interesting discussions about her wanting to be supportive of my health and fitness, but also not wanting. She's like, so I really want to be supportive, but I don't want to be rude and not offer you my chips or my crackers, but I also know that you've got your plan. And so I'm not quite sure what to do here. So we had some really cool little short conversations about like, hey, part of my job is I want to go out in life and live my life and not worry too much about, or be able to say yes or no to food that's offered to me and have it be okay. So it was kind of funny just telling my friend, I'm like, hey, this is my journey. I got to own it. I got to do it. I love your support. I think it's so awesome. It does help me. It would be a whole different thing if we were hanging out hiking and you had all kinds of crap and you also gave me crap about not eating your crap. Like that would be a harder thing. So anyhow, that was fun. I digress. I pull out the bathroom scale. I put it on the floor. I weigh myself and I had lost 35 pounds. I was like, oh crap. Did I just break my scale? Like, oh, this is just so ridiculous. So I like picked the scale up, like shook it, set it back down, made sure it was level, weighed myself again. Still, I had lost 35 pounds. I know. I hadn't lost 35 pounds. So I tell my friend this. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I just broke my scale bringing it in the duffel bag. And like, this is the scale I've been using. I don't want to get a new scale. I was like, it's going to skew my data. And so she said, hey, you're on the carpet. And I'm like, yeah, but it's hard carpet. This is like hotel room carpet. And she's like, no. I think it actually makes a difference. So I take the scale and I go into the bathroom where it's a tile and I weigh myself, and that now my scale seems to be working again. So I was like, oh my gosh, scales. Yeah, Yeah, that's why we got to take it all with a big old grain of salt. So yeah, weighed myself, and I'm really glad I did, because on that day when I had, started my period, taken some Advil, eating salty food, done a bunch of hiking, so there's a little bit of inflammation in there. In one day, I gained almost 4 pounds. Yeah. And so I knew I had all these other factors going on, and it was really good for me to see like this. This is why we got to be really careful with the scale and use it as a data point, because in the midst of that, I knew I was still eating well. I knew I was exercising, and my strength and stamina is better now than it's been in like 6 years, I think. Yeah, I think so. And so I knew in that moment that even if that 4 pound gain was there to stay, I didn't care, because I had other non-scale victories, that hiking strength, that caring for myself and my nervous system, not letting myself go hungry, legit finding myself craving healthy options of food and not being so enticed by the crap food, more confidence that I can eat without having to track. I mean, like all of that, those non-scale victories in that moment, I was like, I know this is a phony 4 pound bump, but I didn't worry about it. So that was really, really cool. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at what the actual data was. And protein, fat, carbs, fiber, all of that, pretty much same old from all the other weeks. So if you haven't listened to those weeks, listen to those. It's kind of same old. Starting of the week, I was okay, this is where the numbers, you ready? You got to like really listen here, because the numbers get a little wonky. Start of the week, I was 167.6 pounds. That was a 1 pound increase from the week before, 166.6. So the scale had me up a pound from last week. So 166.6 was the week before. So if my weight loss is continuing to trend down, I would hope I would have gotten below the 166.6. I know, we're splitting hairs here. See? Yeah. Okay. So what was it at the end of the week? Even with some of the pro-inflammatory, salt, hiking, ibuprofen, all that, the end weight was 165.2. So if I take 2 weeks ago, my net loss is 0.4 pounds, about a half a pound. Or no, last week, or if I just take the 1 week, which is a phony number, because remember it went up, then it would have been a 2.4 pound loss in a week. Or if I took the weight from the day before, see, this is where we're like, whoa, I'm getting dizzy here. There's a point to all this. If I took my weight from the day before, you could have said that I lost 3.5 pounds in one day. Yeah, a little crazy. That's why we got to look at longer trending numbers on the scale, because we get so zeroed down into the minutia that we forget. We got to look big picture. So what's my big picture? My average monthly loss for weight now, I've got a couple months of data now. I'm averaging 5 pounds a month. That's perfect. Average 5 pounds a month. I like that. My grand total weight loss so far is 16.8 pounds, almost 17 pounds. See, so when you back out, zoom out, all of this like back and forth, I weighed 4 pounds more yesterday and 3 pounds more the other day and 6 pounds less the other day. It's like, that's where we get dysfunctional. That's where it goes crazy. And that's what we want to avoid. We want to be able to look big macro numbers and little numbers and really be able to own it ourselves in a way that doesn't become something that we're super duper emotionally attached to. So Fascinating. So fascinating. What's my goal weight? Let me give you a couple numbers. You guys know I do not have a actual specific goal weight. When I look at photos of me in the past, I like myself somewhere in the ballpark of 135 to 150. If I get to 130, I am assuming that I won't have the strength I have today, because I've got a lot of strength underneath me and in me, and I want to keep that. I don't want to lose that. And I think I need to be, in order to have that strength for my body frame, I'm going to need to be able to have that lean body mass on there to keep that strength in it. That means I'm going to be above 130. But I also want to have speed, which speed a lot of times goes with weighing less because, throw weight on, it's harder to go faster because you're simply moving more mass. So I know I hadn't ever given any numbers before about a goal weight, but I keep getting asked that question. And so my guess is somewhere between 135 and 150, but mostly I'm interested in being more lean, not overly lean, not ridiculously lean. I will never look like someone on the cover of a magazine because those people don't exist. I will never go around day to day looking like a bodybuilder because those people only exist for a few hours, a few times a year after massive work, spray tan, oiling up, getting on a stage with the exact perfect lighting, photoshopped and airbrushed. So those people don't fully exist in the way we think they do either. So looking for a reality, mostly looking for loving my life. So there we go. All righty. The next report out you are going to hear from me is going to be in 2 weeks from today. It's going to include weeks 10 and 11. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to be out of town on a trip. I'll tell you more about that after I get back. And on that trip, I am going to test pilot the Holy Grail of not tracking for the whole week. It's actually like 10 days, not tracking food for 10 whole days, seeing if I can take what I learned so far about eating, see if I can take what I learned about dining out for my body and how it reacts, and see if I can put all of that together in a traveling situation. And my goal is going to be not gain weight or not gain much, or only gain so that I can show later within a half a week that it's salt and it comes down when I get back to getting away from that super salty diet. I know on paper I can do this, but we'll see. We'll see. This particular trip I'm doing is going to be light on exercise, but heavy on walking. So that's going to work to my advantage really, really well. And on this trip, I will be with my son, who's adult but underage. And so I decided, you know what? I'm not going to be drinking. I'm going to just have a great time, and I'm not going to drink on that trip with him. And I'm going to let that just be a decision I hold to. For one, it'll be good for me. And two, I really think it's valuable for our young adults to see sober fun, see having a really great time completely sober. And I think that's a really valuable thing. So, and it'll save some cash. Cocktails are expensive. Sucks a little bit of the joy out of it. Just a little bit. So that's what I got going on. The regular podcast once a week will still continue to come out. It's just this weight loss one. I am going to skip that 1 week so I can actually take a vacation. I'm really looking forward to it. By the time you listen to this one, I will be probably back. Will I? Yeah. I'll be pretty much on my way back from my vacation. So you'll hear back from it about it not soon after I get back. Not soon after I get back. Wow, I got vacation on the mind already. Okay, you guys, have a great week. Reach out to me if you want me to give you a hand with any similar goals. I am a weight loss management specialist, functional aging specialist, personal trainer certifications, and just a lot of other background to help you out, get you going. And my bias is always helping you love your life more, not cramming you into a box. Alrighty, friends, have a fabulous week. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now.